So, dear Thầy, dear Sangha, this evening I will continue on the part 2 of the 14 works on meditation. The first slide just simply indicates the summary of the first works, that Samatha and Vipassana are like the two wings of a bird. Samatha here is the practice of stopping, while Vipassana is the practice of deep looking. So in the first works, Thầy wrote in Vietnamese, which was translated by Sister Annabelle into English, and it reads, like the two wings of a bird, the practices of stopping, samatha, and looking deeply, vipassana, rely upon each other and belong together side by side. So I translate it as inter-are, which is the notion that we all know, interbeing, stopping, relies onto vipassana to exist, and vice versa. When we practice stopping, we already have a bit of deep looking. And when we put our mind focus on something, we already have stopped our thinking and concentrate on whatever we focus on. So here the practice of vipassana, of samatha, is to stop so that we may recognize and touch, nourish and heal, settle down and concentrate. So, what do we stop? In the last presentation, I already mentioned the 16 exercises of mindful breathing. And it's only with our conscious breathing that we learn how to stop our wandering mind, wandering and wandering. So last time we insisted on the importance of the first 4 breathing. The first one is recognizing the breathing in and the breathing out, as Sophia mentioned tonight first. Breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. So when we bring our attention to our breathing, we recognize our breathing. But last time I suggested a practice which is to focus on the air passing through the tip of your nose, and you pay attention to it, to recognize that you are breathing in and you are breathing out. So you can do it while you are listening to the talk. Breathing in, breathing out. Just by the fact that we bring our attention, focus on the recognizing the breathing in and out, our mind stops already to wander. It's like we attach our mind to our breathing. And our breathing is nothing else other than our body. It's part of our body. So we realize something called mind and body in unicity, the unicity of mind and body. And then the next step, we already talked about that. We follow the length of our breathing. This is a bit more difficult because distraction will always happen. How do I follow the whole length of my breath? Why I am so busy. So doing that at night when you are on your bed, trying to sleep, is the best way because you are not disturbed by anything else. You turn off your cell phone, you turn off your iPad, and you just focus on the length of your breath. You follow your breath at the beginning to the end. You breathe out, you follow it. Sometimes we attain about 20 breaths, then we already fell asleep. So good way of going into making ourselves sleep. Then the next one was awareness of our whole body. Breathing in, I am aware of my whole body. Like right now you are sitting, and with your conscious breath, you can recognize the posture of your sitting. You can recognize a little bit of maybe pain on the tip of your toes, or maybe some tension in your leg. So you are aware of that. And again, this is attaching my mind to my body. It's come back now. So then the next one is to calm my body. How do I calm my body? I cannot suggest to my body to be calm, but by the fact that my mind is not wandering or wandering, by the fact that my mind is attached to my body, naturally my mind will not wander, and my body has the benefit of being calm. So, using the focus on the breathing, I can calm my body in a very natural way. So this 4 breathing exercise is very important. If we do it well, we will be able to go to the next step. And the next step is to embrace our difficult feeling, is to embrace our activities of the mind. And the idea with the other breathing exercise is the same, which is with our conscious breathing, the Samatha practice aims at transforming and calming our feelings, calming the activities of our mind, because we are focused on our body, on our breathing. Our mind doesn't have a chance to wander or to wander. That's the aim of the exercise. So in this evening, we go to step 2 of the 14 verses. Let's look at the next slide. Deep looking. Vipassana. The verse number 3 says, the practice of Vipassana is to look deeply into the nature of the 5 skandhas, which are the 5 components that define ourselves. Bone and flesh, feelings, perceptions, our mental formations, and our consciousness, the 5 elements that form our body and mind. And that is how the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara practices. But sometimes we don't think of doing that often. So in reality, we are caught with several things that happen in our daily life. But we still can practice deep looking to see the true nature of all the phenomena. This is the part 2. And how do we do that? How do we do that? We have to look into different verses of the second part. One important component is our habit energy. How do we transform our habit energy? There was good habit, such as practicing mindful walking, practicing mindful sitting, practicing eating in silence, practicing of listening, practicing of contemplating things around us, mindful breath. But when we have habit energy, that is difficult if it is a bad one. And how do we transform it? So, gave an answer last time. He said, all we have to do is to dwell peacefully in the present moment. Then you will recognize what is the habit that pushes you to run away. And I read the part of what Thầy wrote several years ago on the root of our habit energy. We need to stop and look deeply into the roots of our habit energy in order to transform it. Each of us carries the habit energies of our ancestors. Our consciousness has a strong capacity to receive and absorb energies from those who have come before us and those around. We carry these energies in our consciousness as 51 different mental formations preserved in the form of seeds in our mind. They are seeds of love, happiness, compassion, fear, hatred, anxiety, etc. So our habit energy, Thầy said, comes from these mental formations. And how does it work? Thầy said these seeds form a neural pathway. A neural pathway that could lead to either happiness or suffering. So any seed that manifests in our mind returns to the store consciousness and becomes stronger. For example, when you come in contact with something that triggers your anger, your frequent traveling on that neural pathway turns anger into habit. But with the intervention of mindfulness, Andre suggested, you can erase the negative neural pathway and open up another pathway that leads to understanding and happiness. So that's how we should do. But simply said, but not easy to practice. I remember myself growing up in my country, Vietnam, where my ancestors ate white rice for several years, and they also have the fish sauce at every meal. So as children, we grew up in that. And when I came to Canada, my first 3 months, I went to the cafeteria of the residence, and they don't serve rice as we have in our country. They use sometimes the unconvened, the minute rice, not very good. And there's no fish sauce. So one day we bought a bag of rice in Montreal. We are so happy to find the real white rice from Thailand and from other country. And we set up to cook, but we cannot use, we don't have, we are not allowed to cook in our room at the residence. So I mentioned that to my French Québécois, and he said, we'll do something for you. He went home in Saint-Georges-de-Beauce, and he came back with, how can I say that? It's a cooker. And they said, my father made it for you. And he filled up the whole thing with, how you call it, the sap of the candles. So it's like a big candle. And you light it up, and you put your rice on that until it's boiled, and you turn it down a bit, and until it's cooked. So I invite my friend to come and eat with me. So that was the, how you say, hide and seek kind of eating. We were so happy eating en cachette, in hiding. And this follow us. And we don't have the fish sauce, so we try to simulate something similar. We bought soya sauce, and we powder it, saupoudre with the chili. And I invite my friends to. But later on, they discover, and they send people to watch who is cooking. So we have to be careful. But then we bought a rice cooker, small, 1.4 liters. So we plug. But then they also detect the quantity of electrical power that you extract from the wall. I don't know how they do that. So I mentioned that to my friend, and he said, I will do something. So he went home, designed and built a circuit that I plug into the wall first, and then I put my rice cooker, and it works, and they don't know it. So he said, I sell it to you $10. $10 at that time is a lot. So I said, no, I will not pay you. But each time I cook rice, I invite you to my room. Free meal. And when your hair is long, I will cut your hair free of charge. So we had a deal. And my friend is still in good shape, living in Drummondville today. He's an inventor. He invented a machine, food, dry packaging, successful. So he employed something like 20 person working for him. Good business. So if one day you have a chance to pass by Drummondville, just ask for dry packaging plant and you can visit my friend. So next step, transforming habit energy, not easy. We have to be very mindful. Next step is about the practice for the rest of the verses. There were several notions mentioned in those verses. And in order to practice deep looking, one has to contemplate, that I will show you later, on the principle of interrelatedness. And this is the role and aim of the last 4 breathing exercises in the 16th exercise. We should first observe the impermanent nature of all Dharma. Nothing can last. We have the impression that everything will last forever. But naturally, things decay. Naturally, material decay. Naturally, things deteriorate day by day. The balcony that we built 10 years ago now start to rotten. Sure, one day it will collapse. And we have to observe the attachment and our desire, and see the dangers of our attachment and our unwholesome desire, if we do have. Then the next one would be observe the no birth, no death nature of the objects of mind. The object of mind is the last component of the 4 mindfulness establishments. And the last 4 is about the object of mind. But it is about also our perception. Because our object of mind, how we perceive things, are veiled. We cannot see the true nature. The Buddha said, where there is perception, there is disappointment. In French, it's so well said, là où il y a perception, il y a déception. The 2 xiong. Easy to remember. So how do we practice in order to see the nature of no birth and no death? Shut up. Then we have to practice letting go. Letting go of our notions, letting go of our anxiety, letting go of our desire which do not do good to us, letting go of whatever can disturb our happiness and our mind. Then Thầy show the way of practice. Thầy use like a template. Everywhere he went to give a Dharma talk on the way of practice, he used that. So where are we? On this wooden template on the top, representing the world of craving, of wrong view, which is called historical dimension, and it is also the world of imaginary construction. What we see is simply imaginary construction. In Sanskrit, parakalpita, that the world in which we swim. We have birth and death, we have healthy and not healthy, we have up and down, we have right and left, we have wrong and right, we judge, we are being judged, we have our very big ego. Someone says something about us, we become angry. This is the world in which our sentiments go with our wrong perception. And as I said, according to the Buddha, if we contemplate on the interrelatedness of all things, paratantra, then one day we will be awakened to a world where we see things in themselves as they are. We see the true nature of reality. And here you can put the question to me and I will not be able to answer. What is this world of true nature? What do you mean by true nature of reality? What do you mean by seeing things in themselves as they are? What is it? Right? We have to... I see the bell, I see the anta, I try to figure out the interrelatedness of all things. I know that this is empty of a separate identity. The anta is so beautiful, but it is made of a lot of non-anta elements. Without the flower, without the gata given by Thai, without clothes, without the table, I don't have the anta. And not only that, without the assistance of Monique and André, wonderfully, we have everything ongoing every Wednesday evening. So we have to see that. And is that the true nature? Yes. We have to practice seeing the interrelatedness of all things. It's not easy. Everything that happens in our life, we have to see that this way. My wife said something that triggers my anger. So I come back to myself and practice the impermanent nature of all things. And I told myself, oh my God, in 400 years, who will I be? In 400 years, who will she be? So suddenly the anger disappears. And I can precipitate to hug her and say, I am sorry of my anger. And she said, beware, pay attention to what you have to say, and because tonight there will be no rice punishment. So how do we practice? That's a good question I put out for you in order to see things as they are. That's not easy. So I will also give you, we have time for quick anecdote that happened to me. This anecdote is about understanding what happened. I used to be a wind tunnel testing engineer, and I was at some point in time in charge of the test for all the American cars. So they came to our wind tunnel. They set up the car very early in the morning, around 6 o'clock. And normally before we start the day, they will ask you to do 2 consecutive runs. And then give them the results. And then they look at the drag coefficient. Oh, Vinh, what's wrong with your wind tunnel? There is a difference of 5% in the drag coefficient. We have not done anything to our car. How can it be? Oh, no. So we have to look into that. And one of the ways that we were taught by the people from Honda is that each time you have to put 5 questions, which is called the 5 why. First one, why the drag coefficient is different. So you look at the drag coefficient. The drag coefficient is measured by the force you measure in the wind tunnel divided by the speed of the wind. So we asked the technician, hey, Sylvain, does the speed change? Sylvain looked at the number. The speed remained the same, Vinh. Okay. How about the force? Oh, the force is different. Next question. Why is the force different? Okay, let's go to the balance. Look at the force element. The force element is made of a very thin blade on which will glue a gauge, and the gauge is called strain gauge. Tiny little resistance glued to the blade. So when the blade moves due to the force of the wind on the car, this element is also elongated. So each change of length induces a change in the resistance, which you can measure by the voltage. So you know what type of force when you do a calibration. So we look at the gauge, nothing wrong, nothing broken. So why the force change, Vinh? Still first question. Oh, someone in the group, very wise. Vinh, the temperature is very different in the balance room. Oh, that could explain, because the temperature make things change, right? When it's hot, like the railroad, they always have a gap, so that when it's too hot, it will not buckle. Oh, so the temperature change. So now we know the force change because of the change in temperature. Next question, number 2. Why temperature change? No one knows. Difficult. A very brilliant young engineer who was recently hired raised the hand. I think I know why. He said, I think because we had a very strong gusty wind outside at that moment. Because the wind tunnel have holes. When you have a strong wind outside, it sucks all the air of the wind tunnel out, and it drove cold air into the wind tunnel. Oh, what a good theory. Can you prove it? So Martin called the airport. Fortunately, at the airport, they record the wind 24 hours a day with their, how you call it, anemometer. But at that time, there was no JPEG file, there were no cell phone, they cannot send you like that. So they had to make a copy of that. They sent us by fax. By the afternoon, we received it, and it shows a strong gusty wind at that moment. So here we go. Question number 3. Why the temperature change? We have the answer. Because the wind outside suddenly changed. Question number 4. Why the wind outside suddenly changed? We can try to answer that, but that will not help us. It's above our control. Can you change the wind, the weather? No. So I had to stop there, and I went to see the engineer chief of the car, and I said, Tim, we think we know the reason of why you have the drag coefficient different. And he looked at me very seriously. Wow, yes, it's an act of God. And he was like, he didn't smile, didn't laugh at all. Are you serious? So anyway, act of God when we cannot control the natural disaster. So only with 5 why, with 5 answers, you can already know a bit of the true nature of what happened to you this morning. But should we always practice like that? Why my boyfriend is not in good mood this morning? You know, that very, how you say, tiring. You cannot do that every time. So I will stop here and thank you all for your listening.